The end to a free decade of Netflix. Between 8 and 10 years ago I received an email welcoming me to Netflix. That was a bit concerning, since I hadn't signed up, so I contacted the company. They told me someone must have accidentally used my email when they created an account. Our last names were the same and our first initial. I said, oh no problem. You must have additional contact information for them besides my email. Could you please remove my email from the account and let them know so they can fix? Well, immediately that was a big problem for Netflix and no, they couldn't remove the email because it was the only one they had for the account, and how did they even know that it was mine? I said, give me your email address and start talking. I will email you the words as they come out of your mouth. That wasn't good enough for proof somehow. More likely I was in the other person's Gmail account asking to not have Netflix. What they finally ended up doing was changing the account password so that when the customer went to log back in they wouldn't be able to and would need to do a password reset by calling Netflix, and then they would confirm the email address. I kept getting Netflix emails, so that didn't work. I called again. Same again, didn't work. I changed the password several times myself because I could use the forgot password function and get an email to reset it. That didn't work. I don't know how they kept getting the new password without updating an email address, and I didn't really care at this point. For the last 8 to 10 years I have had Netflix on everything I own. I have signed in on hotel televisions, used it on my phone, my XBOXs, my kid uses it. I only ever signed in under family and told him to do the same. The entire history in family is us. The other logins, Fred, Softy, and Lila accumulated history. I would occasionally look because curious. Never did a single new show appear in the family watch history that wasn't because of me. Well, I woke up this morning to an email from Netflix telling me that this email address was no longer associated with that account, and if I had any questions etc. Thank you Softy. It has been an amazing run and I'm not sure why you gave me free Netflix for the last decade, but I think you are amazing. TLDR. I asked Netflix to remove my email address from an account that was not mine, that I did not pay for. They would not, because they needed to have an email associated with an account. It stayed that way for 10 years and I used the account for free. I've got this same problem with my email, tied to some little old lady's home shopping network account. She's recently taken up watercolors. I'm glad she's got a hobby. Presumably they had a device that was logged in and never once lost access and therefore never needed the password. Kind of impressive. Among the early emails I received from Netflix was one saying that because I use some cable/phone company, I was receiving free Netflix. Maybe they logged in through that. That seems like it was probably the case. They used some other type of authentication to use Netflix and just gave your email address to them. Similar to how you can use Facebook to log into other sites. Netflix probably used your email as username so you and them have the same username. That email can only be used for one account. But you used your password to log in, and they used an external method of authentication. So they didn't even need the password. I've gotten Cheryl's cookies in the mail every holiday for the last 5 years. They are being sent to the right address. No one by that name has ever lived here. I've done everything I can to try and correct the issue, but I stopped worrying around the 5th delivery. Looking forward to my Easter cookies next week. I live in an apartment, and whoever was in it before me had been signed up for a monthly popcorn subscription for a birthday gift, apparently right as they moved out. The first 3 months we took the box to the complex office so they could send it on to wherever they live now, but after that, we just kept them. A full year later, and they finally stopped showing up. I've had a pen name, a pretty generic unisex name, for close to 2 decades. I have an email account associated with this name, and I get emails from multiple countries intended for people who actually have this name. Following their lives has been very interesting. When possible, I respond to the sender and tell them about the mix-up. I managed to connect the harpist to the bride after he mistakenly emailed me with his availability for her wedding. One person has fallen on hard times in the last few years and is behind on the water bill, and they get emails from payday loan businesses, while another gets emails about his Porsche. I see all of their online orders, and I just found out that another is buying a new mattress. There's no benefit to me so far, no free Netflix or the like. I suppose if I had a criminal mind I could steal someone's identity. I can't believe the info that is shared in emails, but I don't. So I'll just keep on following their lives from afar, at least until they learn to give out their proper email addresses. However, I have something similar happen to someone with the same first/last name at Gmail. My name is a combination of an Anglo and Hispanic names, so not typical, but not so rare to think there aren't more out there. So for the past 20 years, me and this guy have exchanged a handful of short emails. The first was, "I bet this email isn't even monitored or something," and I'd always laugh at his snarky reply. At this point, the guy knows some fun details about my life. Onka friend was emailing me some personal finance advice, which ended, "Get your speep together." He forwards it on and says, "Your friend's advice is right. Hope you get your speep together." Another time recently, my sister-in-law was emailing a panicky message about using Microsoft Teams and Word and Speep like that, but sends it to him instead of me. She called me dying laughing, saying the guy was super helpful and actually gave her some good advice. The guy is a good sport about it at least. However, I have something similar happen to someone with the same first/last name at Gmail. Beep. This happened to my partner, but in reverse. Several years ago, his job changed from paper to digital pay stubs. He spent 6 months fighting with them, playing phone and notation tag trying to get the issue fixed. His email was firstlist89 at Gmail, but they entered it without the number. And so his email to activate the account to view his pay stubs and W2 were opened and activated by another person, presumably with the same name as him, since that was their email handle. So someone else with his same name now has his address, SSN, place of employment, pay stubs, and so much more info. His job continually sent this email to the wrong address until he made up an entirely new, stupid email that wasn't his name. But the secretary they put in charge of this sort of thing was a 70-year-old half-blind chicken pecking typer. We had a lot of clerical errors while she was in charge of things. I still worry that his info was stolen and taken advantage of, and that we'll find out about it in the worst way someday. I get some guy's tax returns every year. It took several years for Quicken to figure it out, and only after I threatened to expose the fact they are disclosing his information to me after being warned. He is at fault because he keeps using the wrong email address, but I don't have his to contact him. Only Quicken. And I did. Many times. Documented. I just got my yearly email from the same dude apologizing for using my address again. I'm like, whatever. If you don't care about your privacy, then okay. I bought a car from a salvage yard. Hail damaged salvage title ECT. Third car I've bought from them. If the car has XM radio, they pay for a year subscription when you buy. A years later, you sign up, or the radio goes dead. Except I guess, since they deal in a lot of these salvages, they just buy a blanket license from XM and remove sold vehicles from the database for next year's subscription. My last car was never removed. 5 years later, still free XM. I logged into Disney a few days ago. After being away from it for a week or two, I binged WandaVision and was about to start Falcon WS, and I noticed that the first episode had already been watched. I then noticed a bunch of Speep had been watched that was not in my sphere of interest. I then noticed a whole new profile when I backed out. I panicked, changed my password, logged out of everything. LMAO. Sorry Daniel. Plot twist. Daniel is your split personality. Check for carbon monoxide. My boyfriend has the same problem. Kept getting emails from online gun stores confirming orders with additional contact information. Found him on Facebook and tried reaching out to the guy placing the orders to let him know he was using the wrong email address, in case there are problems with his order or he needs to return something. Pretty courteous, but the guy refused. Flat out said he wouldn't be using a different email address. So every time an order confirmation would come through, my boyfriend would reply back to customer service to cancel it. And this guy ordered a lot. Like several $100s worth of equipment a month. It took a couple order cancellations, but eventually the guy changed the email address because we haven't gotten another email from that website for about a year. I think these guys stupidly think that changing the email address means creating a new account. No, it just means entering the correct info. It pisses me off when companies don't use an email account confirmation, or at least follow through with the confirmation to activate the account. A few years ago someone used my email address to sign up for Expedia and was able to fully use the account organizing trips, etc. Even though I hadn't clicked on the account confirmation link. I tried contacting Expedia about this and they were f***ing useless. So f*** it. Added a few filters in mail and it all gets promptly deleted. If you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe and check out these 2 videos. Voice of Reddit posts videos every day. If you want a Reddit post to be put in one of these videos, just ask in the comments with the hashtag I put in the description. Have a great day. Voice of Reddit out.